Are we working? Okay. Didn't do a mic check. Oh, come on, tablet. Jesus. Why isn't this light doing what it's supposed to? Oh, maybe because I'm pushing the wrong button. Yeah, we'll try that. Okay. Kathy's here, Linda's here, and the Rumbo is here. Broadcasting live from, station WDWL TV, Studio 1, corporate offices on Grumpy Vulture Boulevard, and my personal studios are on Grumpy Old Man Road. And the Grumpy Jackalope. Oh, in the asshole. Take your bow. Okay, that's it. No spotlight. We're conserving on energy. That's it. Don't fall off the edge of the console here. Jeez. What the hell's going on here? Kind of wobbly. Were you drinking before the show? Well, this accent light isn't working like it's supposed to. Come on. It's supposed to be an accent light, but it's not accenting very well. No, well, white, that's too bright. No, don't want that. Don't want that. Well, what a waste of money this thing was. A halo light. The thing isn't doing what it's supposed to. What a waste of money. It's supposed to be putting more accent light on me. Not doing too well. A halo light. Maybe this is the way I'm supposed to have it. Well, of course, all the wiring is all... Oh, Jesus, no wonder. The halo light. It's supposed to change color. Oh, there we go. but it's not supposed to be over your head. The way it was shown is basically, it's like this, like behind the microphone, but I couldn't put it behind the microphone. It's supposed to be like a cameo, but there was no way I could get the light far enough out of the way of the camera. Well, Jesus. Oh well, waste of money. I fell for that one. Oh, yeah, halo light, yeah. I fell for that piece of shit. Well, I gotta experiment with some shit. There's some other stuff that came with this thing. I just kind of grabbed it out of the box real quick. Because it's kind of dark. So I figured a halo light. Forgetting the distance where the camera is. The camera, if I wouldn't have screwed around, the camera is supposed to mount in the center of that light. All the rest, all the mounting shit's in the box. I wanted to kind of screw with it. Figure, put it on the edge of the console, but it don't want to stay. And it's not throwing enough light. Like the brightness control isn't working. Yeah, the brightness control isn't working. Maybe I need to read the instructions. Says brightness up, down, ain't doing shit. Oh well. Oh, Jesus. Ah, damn. I almost just wore a cup of coffee. Quit playing around. It arrived about 20 minutes ago, and I was like, oh, let's see what it looks like. It's an over-glorified makeup lamp. That's what it is. Yeah, it's the way they show it. It's not for this kind of setup. It's technically you mount a cell phone in the middle of it. It's for those people that film with their cell phones. Because it's got a clip and everything and then a tripod to set on the desk. And the cell phone's supposed to go, well, I don't film with a cell phone. I'm in a studio with a camera mounted. I don't know. It was only like $16. I'll figure out somewhere to use it. I don't need that much light on this ugly face anyway. So what was going on last night in Hill Street Blues? I didn't stick around to see what what videos are. I didn't recognize the guys in the video he was running anyway, so I guess that's the way to get more subscribers is run videos. Nobody would be interested in the videos I'd be running anyway. But everybody does it, you know. Kfar and Jeff and Ned Flanders and Josh. I mean, I guess that's the way you are supposed to do a YouTube channel. You're supposed to run videos and comment, and I'm too old for that shit. Yeah, Kathy, it's got, there's a, see right there, the cell phone clamp threads in to the middle of the white, and then the tripod threads in on the bottom. So you have the thing on a tripod, and then the cell phone mount, put your cell phone right here. And of course, then you get your lighting. Now, of course, you wouldn't have it this close, but that's the object. You have a halo light, and you can change it all different colors. And if I could figure out how to dim it, it's got a dimmer, but the damn thing don't work. It don't want to dim. It's up, down. But that's the object. Is your cell phone clamp is right here. And then, of course, you would have it, you know, maybe 2 feet away from your face. And you could turn the light off in the room and use this just for whatever. I didn't pull all this stuff out of the box. I don't know if I'm going to use it. I might use it for a fill-in light. I have some clamps and bars that I could put it right over my head. If I want more light, I can do this. I can do this. There. I have more light. I just kind of, it was originally $28 on sale for 12 or 13, and I was like, I'll try it. Now that I got it, I wish I didn't buy it. I'll use it somewhere in the studio. Maybe I'll hang it around a jackalope's head or something. I watched some cave art. Man, Chris Ryder, and I'm not going to go, Chris Ryder is a drama queen. He stirs up shit And then, when somebody gives a shit back to him, oh God, I'm being threatened, I'm being threatened. I'm not a big fan of GS, but that emergency protection order is going to be the biggest crybaby shit that Chris has ever pulled. God, GS don't even live anywhere near him. What's he going to do? Jump on a plane? Fly over? Like I've said many times, if you don't want controversy, get the fuck off of social media. Put the phone down, shut the laptop off, turn your computer off, and you'll live peacefully. But no, this internet has turned into the biggest goddamn drama pit I've ever seen. People throwing threats back and forth at one another. That wasn't what YouTube was set up for. YouTube was actually set up like America's funniest home videos. Yeah, Linda, but it's not like Todd is going to jump in a car and drive to Chris's house. I mean, Chris is making this thing out like Todd's his neighbor across the street. I'm not a fan of either one, but Chris deserves, first of all, a mental health evaluation along with Todd. And then he deserves to spend 6-8 months in jail away from the internet. And he'll detox and come out, I was going to say somewhat normal, but there ain't no such thing. That's why I have quit watching so much, because it's just drama, drama, drama. God, everywhere you look. It started with the auditors and it just got out of hand. I agree, Todd. I wouldn't want Todd for my neighbor. I wouldn't want Todd for my neighbor. Well, I kind of put my foot in my mouth last night. I'm going to do it again tonight, and I'll hear a bunch of shit. All Charlie Kirk was an influencer. Trump is making him out like he's some national fucking hero. And anybody that says anything against him, like one of my favorite nightly shows, Jimmy Kimmel. What he said the other night was nowhere offensive. But see, Trump has had an axe to grind against all late night. He does not want any late night shows at all. He's looking to shut them all down. Because someone's going to say something negative about him. Well, let's go back, and I mean all the way back to when Steve Allen did the original Tonight Show. Every single comedian since Steve Allen has poked fun at a president. And the guy that really went overboard was Johnny Carson, when he would literally put on a shitload of makeup and imitate Reagan. And the strange thing was, no matter what insult, Reagan thought it was hilarious. Every comedian that is doing a late night show has always poked fun at the president. Not this one. You poke fun at him, he calls the FCC and says, "That's it. Jimmy Kimmel, like that, gone." Every night show comedian right now is walking on thin ice. They don't dare say anything negative about Trump or Charlie Kirk or anything. And the reason they pulled Jimmy Kimmel is because Disney is in a big merger deal where they will end up having the largest conglomerate of TV stations, and they're looking for the FCC to approve this merger because it basically, they will end up with like 53% of the TV stations, and it's a multi-billion-dollar deal, and they're like, oh, okay, FCC, we'll bow down, we'll kiss your ass, Kimmel's gone. And Trump has gone as far to tell the FCC that if any local TV station says anything negative, he wants their license pulled. Which means, like here in Cleveland, if Channel 3 said something negative about Trump, he'd have their license pulled and Channel 3 would no longer exist. It's sad enough that we no longer, like, I like listening to NPR, National Public Radio. Trump pulled the funding. WBIZ, Channel 25 here in Cleveland, will be shut down. NPR is going to be gone. Any public funded radio station that the government is giving funds to, gone. Because he didn't like what they're saying about him. The days of free speech in this country are disappearing. They might as well just take the First Amendment and just do away with it. Because Trump is stifling free speech. Unless you're his buddy. I don't know if you followed Carson too much, Kathy. Carson was invited to the White House by Reagan in full makeup. And they were standing side by side for photos. Reagan said it was amazing how close the makeup people got Carson to look like him, and Carson almost sounded identical to him. Reagan could take a joke. Clinton could. As a matter of fact, Carson poked fun at Clinton all the time, like Reagan. And then he invited Clinton to come on, and I remember Clinton playing his saxophone on The Tonight Show with Carson. But we have Mr. Big Head, whose feelings get hurt if somebody says something negative about him. And he's slowly stifling free speech in this country. When during the campaign trail he said, "Oh, I'm restoring free speech in this country. People will be able to say whatever they want." Well, that didn't last long. At night, after I settled in, I would put on Kimmel. I'm not much for Jimmy Fallon. I don't like his sense of humor. Kimmel, I loved. And I would turn on my alternate television, which does local, and I would watch Kimmel. Well, Kimmel is no longer. It's being replaced by Celebrity Family Feud. Oh boy. And Trump said, first of all, he thinks Kimmel has no talent. But he told the FCC to relay a message to Dizzy that if Kimmel wants to come back, first of all, he has to issue a formal apology to Charlie Kirk's family, which, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, Kimmel said a lot of nice things about him. He wasn't degrading Charlie Kirk. He was talking about the way the White House is playing it up like he's some big national hero. And Kimmel's been told through channels that first of all he has to issue an apology to Charlie Kirk's family and to Trump and make a sizable donation to Charlie Kirk's foundation. And we're not talking $5,000-$6,000. We're probably talking $75,000, $100,000, basically to buy your job back. That's not free speech. He already succeeded in getting Colbert canceled as of May. Matter of fact, they're doing away with the show altogether. The old Ed Sullivan studio will go dark. But you take a look. Every comedian, and I'm talking Conan O'Brien and, oh God, I had a full list of notes. I must have been so pissed off I threw it away last night. I had all of them listed. Craig Ferguson, Leno. That's what people look forward to. Hearing the joke of the day about the administration. Oh, no more. Oh, no, 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 no. You don't dare say crack a joke about Trump. You no longer have a job. I mean, first of all, it was a dark day in my life when Carson retired. And I got used to Leno. And then Leno retires and they put in Jimmy Fallon, who basically I don't feel he has any talent. I guess what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to go through my listing and see if I get Comedy Central, because I love Jon Stewart. But you know, Linda, this country is run on political humor. There's been political humor, Christ, back to the Roman days. But political humor has ended with the Trump era. Newspapers, magazines, everywhere you look with political humor. Look at the goddamn lawsuit Trump has filed against the New York Times and Rupert Murdoch. What, $16 billion he's suing them for? I have never seen. I'll tell you what. I am so thankful I'm this goddamn old, because you know, at this age I won't have that many years on this earth to put up with what's going on. And then we got three more years of this guy. Oh my God. Did anybody watch the speech that he gave at the formal dinner with King Chuck? Talk about overinflated ego. And then I thought it was very hilarious. They're spending the night at Windsor Castle, and somebody in the crowd has a projector, and they're projecting a video of him and Epstein on the side of the castle. Oh, that was hilarious. I'll tell you what, Carson was great at political humor. He really was. And he grilled every president, every single one. And they were all on his show. They didn't take offense. Bush, both of the Bushes were on his show. Clinton was on his show. Peanut Farmer. Carter was on several times. And like I say, when he had Clinton on, Clinton stood up with the band and was playing his saxophone with him. How many presidents have you seen do that? They didn't take offense. But somebody is so thin-skinned that, oh, heaven forbid they say something against him. Enough of that light. See, I was reading my AARP magazine. It goes to show you how fucking old I am. You know, AARP magazine. I was shocked to find out that Johnny Mathis is 90 years old and still going strong. And Steve Martin, 80. And Marlee Matlin, 60. God, she looks good for 60 years old. And Charlize Theron hit the big 5-0. I'll read the article on Jamie Lee Curtis later on. This is like the second or third time she's been in the AARP magazine. How she conquered Hollywood, found freedom, sobriety, and wisdom one day at a time. What is she? She's in her 60s, isn't she? I know she's younger than me. Page 34. Let's see. I'm sure it'll give her age. Come on, Grumpy. 34, not 43. '66. I know she's working on another frickin' Halloween movie. How many times are they gonna kill that guy? I thought they killed him the last time. What the hell was his name? Jason? I guess they're gonna kill him again. I am not a happy camper. We get the goddamn Volkswagen all buttoned up and the fuel pump quit. Couldn't even run the car to see how the repairs turned out. Fucking fuel pump quit. It's getting power. The relay is working. At least it's as easy to replace the fuel pump on the Volkswagen as it was on the RAV4. You flip the seat down, you pull the trunk carpet mat up, there's an access panel, and the pump is right there. No dropping gas tanks. So I ordered a pump. It'll probably be here the end of the week. Yeah, the car started for about 30 seconds and went brrr. And we're cranking and cranking and cranking, and he goes, "Let me crack the fuel rail." Crank it. No gas. Because he showed me where the fuse was. I pulled the fuse out. Well, good fuse. He said, put a new one in anyway. I pulled the new fuse in. He looked in his toolbox, his little toolkit, and he goes, "Oh, I have a fuel pump relay, and I know it's good." Took the old one out, put the new one in, turned the key, click, click, click. Went back with the test light. Well, we're getting power. No fuel pump. Yeah. So I assembled my new shop vac and vacuumed the interior because Jim used to put his dog in the car. The back seat must have had 50 pounds of dog hair. I was vacuuming and vacuuming and vacuuming and vacuuming and vacuuming. The back seat was just loaded with dog hair. I mean loaded. I got the sunroof closed. I got the rear window on the right rear door closed. What, I'll tell you what, when I opened that door panel, I took the door panel, you got to take the door all apart. You talk about a fucked up setup. Back in the day, we had crank windows with gears. And then when they put electric motors in, it was electric motors with gears. No. The motor turns a spool, and it has a wire cable that pulls the window up and down. Well, the wire cable slipped off the spool, and it looked like a ball of spaghetti. So I did the easy thing. I cut the cable, I shoved the window up, I wrapped the cable around a bolt, tightened down the bolt, done. Window will never come down. Because I don't care. And then I took the hose and I tested. No water leaks. Sunroof's closed nice and tight. I gave the car a bath and washed off about 30 years worth of grime. It's amazing how nice it looks. Do it run? No. Do it shine? Yes. Tomorrow, if it don't rain, I'm going to armor all the interior. I figured I might as well, get her looking spiffy. Although even the mechanic told me it won't pass the E-check. So I can't drive it until January. Well, I'll sneak it around the neighborhood. I ain't going nowhere far with it. That's once we get it running again. And then as I was scrubbing the tires, this son of a bitch has Michelin's on it. Not that I like Michelin's, but I was like, holy shit. And they're about 60% tread, which means I won't have to put tires on for 2-3 years. Maybe even longer. I only drive 50 miles a month. Matter of fact, when I called Progressive, the girl said, how many miles you do a month? I said 50. She said, oh, Mr. Grumpy, you misunderstood me. I'm not talking miles a day. I'm talking miles a month. I said, yeah, 50. You drive 50 miles a month? I said, yeah. I've clocked it 2 months in a row. 1 month was 52, and last month was 50. She goes, okay, we'll list your vehicle as pleasure. I said, list it as grocery getter. And then, get this. I think it was deliberate bullshit. I asked my neighbor, how much will you charge me to bring the car across the street and put it in the driveway? Oh, don't worry, I'll do it for free. I said, you towed the truck for free. I'm not looking to get this done for free. Oh, don't worry, I'll bring a tow truck home. So, I'm waiting. The next thing I see is car pull in the driveway. And I was like, He said, my little tow truck broke down. Right. Because it's really funny. I no sooner had the Passat in my driveway, the next night he comes home with the flatbed. And every night since, he's come home with the flatbed. He just didn't want to do it. He could have told me that. I really don't want to be bothered. I would have said, okay. So I called Allstate Motor Club. And found out they changed their rules. Because when I first signed up 10 years ago, they would not tow a vehicle with an expired registration. They would not tow a vehicle that was, like mine, untitled, unregistered. So I called and I said, who tows in my district? And she says, well, why's that? And I said, I need a vehicle towed. I said, as a matter of fact, I need it moved from across the street out of one driveway in another. She said, well, we can handle that. I said, it doesn't have any license plates on it, and I don't own it yet. I purchased it on a bill of sale. I don't have the title. We can move it. I said, really? Yes, there's just one stipulation. I said, what's that? It has to be insured. I'll call you right back. I called Progressive, insured it. They gave me a temporary policy number for it. I called Allstate. It's insured. Here's the temporary policy number. We'll have a tow truck within an hour. You should have seen the ungodly monstrosity this guy shows up in. I was like, could you have brought a bigger truck? He said, oh, no problem. I said, you ain't going to get that big-ass flatbed between those gates. Watch me. I said, okay. I don't know how he did it, because he only had like an inch on either side. He got that flatbed back there. Then he gets it loaded, and he ties down all four wheels. He pulls the winch tight. He has straps on all four wheels. And I said, you're only going across the street. It took him longer to strap it down and unstrap it than it did for him to back in my driveway and lower the flatbed. And he must have taken 30 photographs. Because now you have to document everything. Because so many people have said over the years, oh, you damaged my car. So every angle, he must have taken 15 photographs as he was loading it and had it on the truck. And then he must have taken 15 more when he unloaded it in my driveway. I told him, I says, a Hollywood photographer don't take that many photos on a shoot. He says, oh, we have to document everything. I told him, I says, it wasn't. The only time I had to take photos back in the day when I was doing heavy recovery, semis and that shit. That was when we had to take photographs for the insurance companies and the company that owned the semi or whatever. And I told him, I'm going to show you my age. It was a 35 millimeter film camera. But if I went out on a rollover, I had to take pictures. Otherwise, if you were just doing a road service call, you didn't have to photograph anything. But like he said, people nowadays, oh, you damaged my, look, you put that little tiny scratch in the bottom of my bumper. Well, maybe I put that little tiny scratch in, but what about you? What about the bumper dragging in your driveway every time you pull in and out? That damage is okay, all right? I put in a little pencil-sized scratch. Oh, I'll tell you what, the guy super professional. The tow truck was spotless, and I loved it because it was a big honking Ford F550 Super Duty. Christ, the Ford emblem was almost as big as my face. But very professional. Like I say, he took all kinds of photographs. Took care of my car like it was a brand new Cadillac. So when he got done, I gave him a $20 tip. I said, here, go buy yourself some lunch. Because he was ultra professional, if that would have been a brand new Cadillac, I would have felt just as good as I with this piece of crap I have. But he brings out this big honking flatbed. I'm like, Jesus. And then to find out, he's a competitor to my neighbor. Because I told him, I said, my neighbor was going to move it. He goes, who's your neighbor? And I told him, he went, oh, we're competitors. We're only a couple of blocks apart from one another. I've yet to tell my neighbor who towed it. So I abused up one of my calls for my road service. And now you only get 4. You used to get 5. You only get 4. I'll tell you what, Allstate Motor Club makes money on me. Because I've only used, in 10 years, I've only used it 3 times. But, better to be safe than sorry. Because you get the first 10 miles for free. Very rarely am I 10 miles from my house. Even when I go out to Parma, I'm not 10 miles from my house. And the 3 times I broke down, I was less than 10 miles from my house. It's combined in my cell phone bill. It's offered through Consumer Cellular. It costs me $5 a month. To me, it's worth it because I think AAA is over $100 a year now. And then I get, actually it only costs me $4 because I get $1 off for being a RP member. Yeah, I get that AARP discount on top of it. So for $4 a month, I get guaranteed road service. And like I say, I've been with Allstate. Well, I've been with Consumer for 10 years, and I took the road service because it was a deal. Can't beat it. I'm going to have to ask my friends because they've got AAA. I'll have to find out. They have Plus, which is the more expensive AAA. I'll have to ask them what they pay a year. It's got to be over $100. It's got to be. But for what am I spending? $48 a year? And, you know, you get the towing, you get the flat tire, gasoline, jump start. The same as AAA. But I couldn't believe it when they said, "Oh, we'll move the car, no problem." I said, "You didn't do that 10 years ago." She said, "We have a new CEO. He's more customer oriented." I was like, "Cool, come get it." And he got that big ass truck in my driveway with no problem and dropped the car exactly where I wanted it. And I figure just tying it down, taking pictures, untying it and taking pictures, it was worth a $20 tip. He looked at it like, holy fuck. Matter of fact, he looked at it and he went, "Did you look at this bill?" I said, "Yeah." "Buy yourself some lunch." Probably the biggest tip he's probably ever got since he's driving a tow truck. He was a young guy in his mid-20s. Neat shaven, haircut very nice, clean uniform. That impressed me right there. Nice, clean, fancy truck. And it was a Ford. I'm a Ford person. Even though I drive in a Nissan and a Volkswagen and a Toyota. I had Ford Rangers for years. I miss my Ford Rangers. Oh my God. I had a 94 and I had a 97. But I really wanted a 93 because the 93 was the boxy flat nose and they were a little smaller than the 94s. But I could never find a 93. But I would, oh God, I would give anything to have another Ford Ranger. I love them Ford Rangers. Although, first of all, they're very inherent of breaking springs, and the bed mounts give away. You'll see them where the bed drops on a corner. Or, yeah, the bed mounts are bad, and they break rear springs left and right. Matter of fact, I learned that on the 94. So when I broke a spring on the 97, I had the guy put extra leaves in the springs. Stiffened the shit out of that truck, though. Man, it bounced all over the place. But I would give anything to have another Ranger. Not the new ones. I don't like the new ones. The new ones today are the size of an F-150 from back in the 60s. It's amazing how big an F-150 has got when you put it side by side with a 1960s F-150. They look like semis. Matter of fact, there's a guy, I've seen him a couple of times. He's got, it's either a 60 or 62 F-100, which was, talk about a stripped vehicle. An F-100 didn't have a radio. It was all bare bones, 3 on the tree. And when that guy pulled in the shopping center next to a brand new F-150, it looked like a Ford Ranger. It's amazing how big F-150s have gotten. You don't realize over the years because they get a little bit and a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger. And now F-150s are like semis. Matter of fact, it's a shame to take a vehicle like that out in a construction site. You know, back in the day when you had the little stripped down F-100, they throw fucking tools in it and take them out in a construction site, beat the shit out of them. God, I'd be afraid to do that today. Oh, yeah, Kathy, there's a guy down the street from me. I think he's got a 2020. And it was his fault. He stopped over the stop line. You know, they paint that stop line at a traffic light. Well, there was a guy coming the other way, and he was a little too close to the curb. And the guy just buffeted off the front of his truck, ripped the whole front end off it. Of course, it's all plastic. The grill's plastic, the headlights are plastic. Tore all that plastic right off of it. Have you got a 150 or a 250? Although, don't make much difference. They're all high off the ground. There's a young guy that's got I think it's an 18 or a 19, and he's got a body lift on it, and then he's got a suspension lift on it, and he's got the big fucking honking tires look like it came off an earth mover. I don't know how the hell he gets in and out of that thing. You know, back in the day, your headlights could not be over a certain height from the ground. Now with these lift kits, there was one, several months ago. I was coming home, it was dusk, and his goddamn headlights were in the back of my head. That's how high off the goddamn ground that truck was. I was getting fucking blinded. I finally slowed down and eased over so he could go around me because But back years ago, your headlights could not be over a certain measurement from the ground. You couldn't do lift kits and body lifts and all that shit. But now, Some of these goddamn trucks are 6 feet off the ground. I don't know when that rule changed, but it actually goes by state. Because in some states, you can't do a lift kit like that. Because your headlights have to remain that distance above the ground. Now, your F-150 is just a standard truck, right? You don't have a lift kit or big-ass tires or anything, do you? Because even the normal F-150s, their headlights are up there. Especially if you're driving something small and low to the ground, your headlights are going to nail somebody right in the back of the head. Because I know that's the complaint of the girl down the street. She's got one of them, oh, what the hell is it? A Chevy Spark. The car's about as big as a boot. I could almost put that car in my pocket. And she says if a pickup truck gets behind her, the headlights are blinding her. Although she don't drive too much at night. But yeah, with these little cars, when you come up behind them, because see, here's another thing. The factories don't want you going to an aftermarket company. And if you've noticed, on some of these off-road F-150s and Silverados, they're lifted at the factory because they don't want you spending your money somewhere else. Which is sad for the aftermarket guys because they're losing their ass, you know. That's why the stereo systems have gotten so sophisticated in the new vehicles. You know, like my buddy's Lincoln Aviator. It's got 22 speakers. Now he has the Ultra sound system, and it has woofers under the seats. Because the one day when he cranked the bass up, it was massaging my ass. Dum 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 dum. When's the last time? Now maybe down there, you still have aftermarket stereo places. They're almost non-existent around here. There used to be 6 or 7 of them in this neighborhood. And the dealer, you know, the manufacturers got wind of this and they're like, well, gee, we'll offer a premium sound system and you don't have to go to an aftermarket, which basically, it usually voided the warranty anyway. My my other buddy's got a Navigator, big honking brrr, sucker's like a semi. It's got 31 speakers. 31 speakers. And it's got 4 subwoofers, one under each passenger. He brought that thing over one day and cranking that stereo up. I thought I was sitting in, Cleveland Symphony Orchestra. And then he told me 31 speakers. Not to mention the interior. It's better than people's living rooms. 30-way adjustable seat. The front seats adjust 30 different positions. Massage. I'm like, gee, if I turned the massage feature on, of course they're heated and cooled, I'd fall asleep in that son of a bitch. Crank the heat up, massage, off a cliff. As a matter of fact, one of my neighbors had a Dodge Ram. And same thing. A 25 speaker stereo in a Dodge Ram pickup. It'd be interesting to see how many speakers are in your F-150. I bet you there's at least 12. If you've got the standard sound system, I bet you have at least 12 speakers. Maybe 14. You know what surprises me? My Passat has woofers and tweeters in each door. Because when I took the door apart, at the top of the door is a tweeter, and at the bottom of the door is a woofer, and it's a two-way woofer. It's got a mid-range, and then it's got the woofer, and there's all 4 doors. Not to mention speakers in the back parcel shelf. The only problem is, get this, when you disconnect the battery, in order to get the radio to work, you need the security code. There's no way of finding out what the security code is to punch into the radio to get it to turn on. And you know what I found? It has a CD changer in the trunk. I can't use it. Jim never wrote down the security code anywhere. I looked in the manual. I went through every page of the manual. I called Volkswagen. I said, if I give you my VIN number, car's too old. I said, how do I get the stereo to work? I have to buy another radio. I said, what? Yeah. In order to use I have to buy another radio, and it has to be from the Volkswagen dealer. Because in the junkyards, when they pull the radios out, there's no security code. And there's no way to fucking program it. And here I've got a gorgeous I think it's a Panasonic CD changer in the trunk that I can't use. Because I was hitting the button on the radio, and the radio comes on and goes right off. And it come on and go right back off. And I'm like, what the fuck's with this radio? So I called Volkswagen. And the guy went, well, what's the security code? I said, I don't know. He said, well, if you don't know, I can't help you. Because as soon as you turn the radio on, you have to have like two fingers. You hit the on button, and then you hit the first number of the security code. And then it allows you to put the rest of the numbers in, and then the radio works. And besides having the CD changer, I discovered it's an AM/FM cassette with the CD changer. And I found the CD changer by accident. Because in the trunk, I thought it was the panel for the jack. Well, it had a green cross. First aid kit. I opened and there was a little first aid kit that nobody's ever touched. And underneath it is a CD changer. And I was like, oh, jeez. And I can't use it. I even asked the guy, I said, can I use the CD changer if I put an aftermarket radio in? Nope. I am not going to spend $389 for a factory radio when I only paid $200 for the car. And Kathy, I must have 500 CDs. I would have been in my glory playing them CDs in that car with the sound system and I can't get the fucking radio to work. And you know, you would think, now, all right, I'm OCD, I'll admit it. You would think, knowing that you need this security code in case you change a battery, that you would have written it in the manual somewhere. I went through every single page. Yeah, this CD changer it's back by the taillight. There's a compartment that you open, and it has a shelf that has a little first aid kit that I was the first one to open it because it was wrapped in plastic from the factory. And then right underneath it is a CD changer. And I was like, all this stuff. And what makes it worse, besides having 500 CDs, I've got 300 cassettes. I can't play anything. I can't even turn the radio on. Oh, Kathy, I looked all over in that car. And you would think that maybe the factory in the glove box or in the console would put a label with the security code. Like Ford. On my Explorer, when I had my, what the hell year was that, 94? Was a 94 or 95 Explorer. You know the jukebox on the door? Now, I don't know if they still put them on the new ones. You know, you got the key fob, but Ford used to have a jukebox on the door. Well, when you open the spare tire compartment, the code for the jukebox was mounted by the factory in the back of the compartment. So, like, as a matter of fact, my sister never even knew it. And one day I said to I called, I took it up to the Ford dealer and I said, how do I get the code for the jukebox here? And the guy opened the back end up and pulled the panel open, and he tilted the spare tire and he goes, it's right there. I wrote it down. We checked it. Ding, 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 ding. It worked. Volkswagen doesn't have the goddamn code anywhere. It was on a business card. It was on a piece of, like a business card, in the manual. It ain't there now. Because I've got the original manual, and, it's got slots for business cards. And he said that's how it came with the vehicle. You had this card. Well, over the years, the card vanished. And there is no, I asked him, I says, well, what if I pull the radio out? Is it on the radio? No, which is stupid. You would think, if anything, they would mount it on the radio. Because I'll show you something. Let me grab it. Oh, this light's gonna... Let me get this light out of the way. I'll screw with you tomorrow. These are the removal keys. to get the radio out of the dash. You put one of these in a slot on either side of the radio. And then you pull the radio out of the dash. You would think, if it's this easy to get the radio out, they would put the code from the factory on the radio. No. Even the guy from Volkswagen said, yeah, that would make sense. But he said, you got to remember, it's a German car. Germans don't think like Americans. You would think, and I've got the Chilton's manual. You slide, and I saw I checked because I got these today. I bought them off of eBay. I put them in. There's a slot on either side, and you hear them click. And when they click, the radio slides right out. You would think they would put the code on the radio. Nope. Because the reason I know these are the right ones, first of all, I test them, but you get two of these with the car in case you ever have to pull the radio out. Now, these were missing too. I only paid $250. Got 4 keys. But if the radio is that easy, and the factory knows that if you disconnect the battery or, the battery goes dead, you have to punch the code back in to get the radio to operate, why they wouldn't put a sticker on the goddamn radio? No. Because I called a couple of boneyards and I asked them if they had Volkswagen Passat radios, and they said, yeah. I said, do you have any of them that have the code? No. Too old, Kathy. I called Volkswagen and I said, if I give you the VIN number, and he goes, our records only go back 10 years. Now, if the car was a 2015, I could get the code. But their records only go back 10 years. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull the radio out on the chance that maybe the radio has been removed before and somebody wrote the code on the radio. Now, that's not the way my luck runs. I'm going to pull that radio out and look. Because I need another key fob. Because it only has one. Well, you can order a key fob off eBay. It is so simple to program the key fob. You can do it in less than 5 minutes. You would think programming a radio would be easy? Well, yeah, if you have the magic code. I just. Well, I will be out there with a flashlight looking every millimeter of that glove box tomorrow. Because there's no I went through every page. In the wheel well? Well, then I guess I'll be going over every millimeter of the glove box, and then I'll take the spare tire out. God, if I could find the code, holy shit, that would be unreal. Because there's nothing in the manual. But if it's glove box and spare wheel well, then and that's for an 01. Cool. Thanks for the info. Maybe I'll luck out. Oh, man, that would be unbelievable. Because I got lucky. I put new batteries in the key fob, and the key fob works perfect. I can lock the doors, unlock the doors, and open the trunk. Let me get the damn key. I hate this one. I bet you it cost a fortune at a key shop to get this key cut. These little squiggle keys. But I gotta get another key fob, and it comes with a blank. I bet you they charge a fortune to cut that. Look at them stupid. Although you've probably seen keys like that anyway. Stupidest looking goddamn key on earth. A little squiggly zippy. But at least the fob works. The only thing that's broken is the button for the panic. But I found on eBay uh, $32. You can get another key fob, and it comes with the blank key, and it's super easy to program. Matter of fact, how easy it is, you turn the ignition on to on. You push the lock button once, and then you push the unlock button twice, and the fob is programmed. That's how easy it is to program the key fob. Then you got the goddamn radio. Oh, I hope I find it. Tomorrow I will go over every millimeter of the glove box, and then I'll pull the carpet out of the trunk and pull the spare out, and hopefully it's somewhere. Although, in a way, I can understand it. Because if you can buy these off of eBay, somebody breaks in the car, within less than 5 minutes, they've stolen your radio. Well, you know, back in the day, you took a radio out of one car, you put it in another car. I remember when I had my Eldorado. It had the standard radio. Well, they had the upgraded radio that had the equalizer. Took the radio out, went to the boneyard, bought the radio with the equalizer, plugged it in, stuck it in the dash, and it worked. And then I toying with the car. I go to check the lights. I wanted to make sure all the lights were working. So I checked turn signals. I checked the brake lights. I turned on the parking lights. And I can't turn the headlights on. Now, there's a symbol. One says, one symbol for parking lights and a symbol for headlight. The frickin' switch won't turn. I was like, oh, wonderful. The goddamn light switch is broke. You have to have the ignition on. You turn the ignition on, and the headlights go on. But if you're sitting with the ignition off, you can only turn on the parking lights. I was like, talk about a quirky goddamn car. Although it keeps you from, killing your battery, you forget to turn the headlights off. But yeah, you can't turn the headlights on unless the ignition's on. I was like, okay. This car's a real learning experience already. But I hope I can find the code for the radio. Oh, man. I mean, I gathered my box of cassettes. And then when I realized I had a CD player, I was like, oh boy, here we go, ABBA. I'll be cranking ABBA going down the street. All the kids in the neighborhood will be like, what the fuck is he playing? Dancing Queen. Oh. I have every CD ABBA ever made. Oh, oh, oh. I was a real ABBA fan. Oh, Volkswagen has online service. Oh, yeah. Well, if I don't find it in the car, I will be going on Volkswagen online service. Oh, I'll be able to do that because I'm taking the radio out of the dash. Now I tested the keys because they would click click, and I stuck my finger in the cassette door and the radio started to come out. I was like, oh, good. But I didn't take it all the way out. I took the keys out and snapped it in and locked it again. So tomorrow, out of the car it's coming. Man, it would be great if it was that easy. Just get Volkswagen online service, put the serial number in, and give me the radio code. I'll get my engraving tool and I'll engrave it into the case of the radio. Good theft item, but pain in the ass. Because it said in the manual, every time you disconnect the battery or if the battery goes dead, it wipes the code out of the radio. You have to put the code in again. I was like, what a pain in the ass. I hope Jeff doesn't get pissed off at the just a little joke. Over the Hill Pirate Studio. He'll be saying like, hey, what are you doing? Just a joke, Jeff. Just a joke. Yeah, last night after an hour, I told Ron, I said, meh, that's it. Because it was just him and I for an hour. And then when I logged off, I went over to Hill Pirate, and there was Wyatt and Mrs. Metcalf, and Linda was there. And I can't remember who else. But it surprised me seeing Wyatt, and he can't stop in and say hi. I just basically logged in, I said hi to Jeff and Ned Flanders, and I only stuck around for like 5 minutes, and then I had shit to do. because it was surprising. I no sooner said hello in the chat, Jeff and Ned Flanders at the same time were like, "Hey, glad to know you're still alive." I have to email Ned Flanders. I want to see a picture of the dog. Although it's probably huge by now. Puppies grow fast. Although so do kittens. You no sooner have this cute little cuddly thing and then they're like, pfft. I didn't recognize the guys in the video he was playing. Although, see, I don't follow them. I had just gotten wind from one of my friends that KFAR was doing a thing on Chris, so I went in on KFAR and saw what he had to say about Chris. Like I say, I don't get into drama. I hate drama. That's why basically I just watch the court stuff. Judge Boyd, Judge Middleton, Judge Dad, Judge Stevens. Although today, Judge Stevens, I had to laugh. This defendant wouldn't shut up. So he said, "I'm going to treat you like a little kid. You're in timeout. Go over there and sit in the jury box." And the guy looked at him like, "What?" "Yep, you're in timeout. Go over there, sit in the jury box." He did a timeout. Then he gave the guy. Here's how stupid some defendants are. The guy is a repeat offender on, it was DV. The plea deal was for 5 years, followed by 3 years of probation. The guy turned it down. Judge Stevens goes through the guy's previous history only to find out that he has multiple DVs. He give the guy 30 years. I think the guy shit himself. Turns down a deal for 5 and gets 30. But Judge Stevens, he don't take no shit. And I'll tell you what, when you piss him off, oh. But he was so mild, meek, you know. He's reading it, and the guy's talking over him, and he goes, "Don't talk over me." He starts reading again, and the guy starts back up, and he goes, "I told you, don't talk over me." He starts reading. He put the file down, goes, "You're in timeout, like a little kid. You're going to act like a little kid. I'm going to treat you. Timeout. Go over in the jury box." And he looked at his attorney. His attorney went, "Go in the jury box." But he's good. Kathy, have you ever watched Judge O'Donnell in Lake County? Oh my God! I wouldn't want to have a traffic ticket in front of him. Oh my God! And he don't mince no words. He had a guy making a bunch of excuses the other day, and he goes, "I don't want to hear your fucking excuses." I was like, "What?" He said, that guy says, "All you are is a bunch of goddamn excuses all the time. Suck it up." Yeah, Judge O'Donnell, Lake County, Ohio. He oh he is like a combination of Judge Dad, Judge Stevens, and Judge Simpson, all in one. Unbelievable. The shit that he says. Oh, like I say, I wouldn't want to have a parking ticket in front of him. And then I was watching Judge Dad today, and a guy pissed him off, and he smacked his gavel. And then he looks at the gavel and he goes, "I haven't banged this thing in years." Typical Judge Dad, though. The guy was pissing him off, and then after the guy shut up, he looked at the gavel. He went, "I haven't used this in years." I like Judge Dad because he lectures like a father sometimes. Of course he is. He'll take his glasses off and you know it's lecture time. And probably one of the fairest judges around. Unless you piss him off. And then, between like Judge West, oh, there's one you don't want to piss off. And Judge Mogan, and the one in Michigan, Judge Shackelford, she's another one. Oh, jeez. Matter of fact, one day last week, she had a sovereign citizen, and the guy started in, and she said, "I don't want to hear your sovereign citizen bullshit. It ain't gonna work here." I was like, whoa. These judges, I'll tell you, there are more and more judges that are not putting up with this sovereign citizen shit because they know all they're doing is delaying things. Yeah, I've been watching Shackelford more and more. I like her. And then, oh God, who's the other one? The brunette with glasses. Oh, what's her name? Oh, I can't think of her name. I'm pretty sure she's Michigan too. She looks like a little pixie. Brunette, glasses. I just watched her this morning. I can't think of her name. Oh, it'll come to me about 2 in the morning. The only problem is she's got a shitty set of DeSanto. That's it, yeah. She has got shitty microphones in that courtroom. It's hard to hear her sometime. But she's another one that don't take no shit off anybody. I really think the female judges are tougher than the guys. I really do. Especially Judge West. Oh, man. She don't take no shit off nobody. And then Mogan is what? Is Mogan's Wisconsin, isn't she? Because West is in Texas. I can't remember if Mogan. I don't think she's Michigan. I think she's Wisconsin. Matter of fact, Judge West and Judge Mogan could pass for sisters. And then I'm trying to think, oh, the black judge in Michigan. Oh, God, what's her name? She don't take any crap either. She's an older judge, but she's in Michigan. I like watching her. But see, that's what I watch. I can't watch drama. You know, GS and Chris and the rest of the drama queens. I can't get into watching that shit. I watch judges all day. I can't think of that black judge in Michigan. She's like a little old lady, but you don't piss her off. Ugh. She had a girl the other day on Zoom, and the girl was laying back in bed. Oh my God. She said, "Are you laying in the bed?" And the girl was like, no. I saw you laying in the bed. This is a courtroom. You ain't supposed to be laying in the bed. Then she tells the defense attorney, I think maybe you should go in a breakout room and counsel your client about laying in the bed. I can't think of her name. They leave such a lasting impression, you know. But you gotta check out Judge O'Donnell in Lake County. He don't take no shit. I've never heard a judge swear as much as he does. And from what I've heard, he gets reelected every time. People love him. But he swears like a truck driver in court. That's the kind of drama I like. I don't want, I don't know why Cuyahoga County doesn't do anything live. I would love to watch Cuyahoga County cases, but you can't find anything. Evidently, after the virus was done, they stopped televising shit. Of course, you always got good old Judge Middleton. I was watching a case today. He knew the families on both sides. And this was a small claims. And he come right out and he said, I hate these cases. Two neighbors, they can't get along. And then he went right down the line. He knew the one party from the great-grandfather all the way up to today, and the other one, him and the family, the brothers went to school and together. And he said to both parties, if you want me to recuse myself, and both parties said, you'll be fair. But it was, although with Judge Middleton, he knows everyone. He knows everyone in that county. He knows the family histories. The guy's unbelievable. It's like Andy Mayberry watching his courtroom. Especially him, like, well, I knew your grandfather and I used to cut the lawn for him. And I went to high school with your cousin. There are very few people that get up in his courtroom that he don't know. Matter of fact, he'll call a case and go, yeah, we've met before. Because he had one girl the other day, he goes, weren't you my waitress at Cracker Barrel? And she was like, yeah. And I think he goes to every restaurant in that county. But she gets up in front of him and he's reading the case off and he looked at her and goes, weren't you my waitress at Cracker Barrel the other day? Yes, Judge. And then she went, and you were very generous tipper. I was waiting for him to say, that ain't going to sway the case here, dear. He's only going to be around for another year. I'm going to miss him. Because that's when his term is up. He can't run again. It'll be one of these, whoever replaces him, he'll point to the picture and go, that Judge Middleton, he was here for 40 years, you know. But it's amazing. Very rarely does somebody get up in front of him and him not know them. And he knows the history of their houses and talk about a book of knowledge of the county. He's unbelievable. And he rides his bicycle to court. When the weather permits, he rides his bicycle to court. Because the other day he said, well, it was a little nippy riding my bike today. And he says he's got like 6 different bicycles. He's unreal. Yeah, because the one day he said, because they said that when he retires, he could come back as a visiting judge. And he said, when I retire, I'm retiring. He goes, I'm not even going to practice law. He said a lot of judges, they'll open an office. He said, I'm just going to enjoy my grandkids and my retirement. And it'll be a sad day when I bet you they throw a huge party for him when he retires. It would be nice if somebody filmed it. Because I'm sure that there's going to be everybody in that county get up and have something to say. But I think he said next October. I think he said he's got 1 year left and he's done. All right, Linda. Keep up on the drama. We're drama-free here. Tell Jeff I said hi. And if Ned Flanders is there, tell him I said hi again, too. I won't be over tonight. I just popped in for the hell of it last night. Since I cut the show short. Whoa. I hadn't realized Time flies when you're having fun. It's that time. We know where, right here. And with that, everybody have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again right here tomorrow night. And with that, take care. Kathy, thanks for the info. I'll be digging for numbers tomorrow. Hopefully I get lucky. See ya!